soon as we start to come out and reveal ourselves to the world and who we are and what we offer and how we do that and the ways that we show up, we're often met with these really resistant parts. It could be fear, it could be belief, it could be whatever it is. There's some part of us that does not feel safe, and it's putting the brakes on it. Nope, not doing that, not going there, and we can call that sabotage or imposter syndrome. There's a few different ways it can show up. But basically, we're coming out, we're allowing ourselves to be seen, we're stepping into our power, we're actually beginning to lead our lives, steer the ship, and anything that is internally programmed within us that usually is from the past of other people's voices that were like, no, you can't, it's not okay, those things become subconscious dialogues that then arise as soon as we start to come into that place of power. So I want to talk about this because I want to give some solutions. Because over the last couple of days, I've had some amazing questions. The first one was, how can I trust my power? Oh, how can I trust my power? What an amazing inquiry. And then the second one was, how do I know what to do next? You know, I just want someone to show me how to do it. Tell me what to do. Fix it for me. I don't know. Can you just, what do I do? Right? So between those two questions, I'm like, okay, this is a really potent topic because it's coming up in these parallel situations, but still comes back to that core of it does not feel okay for me to come out and reveal this part of myself or offer myself in this way. I'm afraid that I'll be rejected. I'm afraid that I'll be abandoned. I'm afraid that someone will judge me, criticize me. But of course, we end up doing all of those things to ourselves in the anticipation of it happening from the external world. And therefore, we will usually attract that based upon the way that we're treating ourselves. It's a double-edged sword. So, my solution... Oh, before the solution, there was another good question. I have to add one more in. I was tattooing someone, and she asked me, so how do you find yourself? Like, what is this identity if none of these other things that were me before are applicable? I had to add that one in. So, solutions. Okay. So depending upon what the fear is, if the fear is of judgment, then any time that you start to judge yourself, use that as a gateway, use that as a doorway to go into the fear so that you can learn what it wants to show you. So what does that look like? If you start to have negative self-talk, or if you're in a situation and you start to get down on yourself, I want you to pause. Like, stop everything and take a moment for yourself. If it's not immediate, then give yourself that time, either that night or the next morning, to say, okay, I hear that I'm feeling this way about myself, I'm calling myself whatever, or I'm speaking to myself in this way. Give space for that voice. Like, actually sit down with it as if you're sitting down with another person, and let that voice know you want to hear what it has to say. If it's a fear of abandonment, you know, and we're like fearing that someone's going to lose us, or we're going to lose something if we step into our power, or it's not going to be okay, it's going to offend someone, hurt someone, these kinds of things, then go into the gateway of, if you're self-abandoning, pause, ask yourself, why am I denying what I need right now, what I want right now? What am I doing instead? What am I compromising? And why am I afraid to give myself the things that I want and need? Why do I resist that? And then go into that, right? Because there's usually some kind of grief, some kind of pain underneath that fear and that resistance, because it's an unmet need. And it perpetuates as an unmet need because every time it comes up, we're like, ooh, I can't look at that. There's too much of an accumulation of pain. So I'm going to continue the pattern that I know and keep self-abandoning or keep self-rejecting or doing all these things, and then impending that it's going to happen in the external realm because we're already doing it to ourselves. And again, no blame. It is just the way that we allowed ourselves to be conditioned and programmed. It's nobody's fault. Everybody did the best that they could, but most of us had environments that were not the greatest for developing our psychology in healthy ways and knowing how to manage our emotional state and nourish the things that we get to learn how to do as an adult. So allow this to be a moment of learning for that, and I'm just inviting you to go deeper into it, whatever it is. And the emotions might feel intimidating and they might be scary, and we might not even really know how to be with them, and that's okay. But just a little bit, just a little bit, a little step, whether that's like going into nature for an hour or sitting down for 15 minutes, doing something that lets yourself know, okay, I am ready to go into this. This fear, this sabotage, or whatever has been limiting me, and I'm ready to be liberated from that. And even just asking self, how do I do that? Where do I begin? You already know the answers. You just maybe haven't given yourself to pause and have the permission to receive and offer it up. So allow this to be that invitation, and let me know what comes up for you. And thank you for listening and for showing up for yourself.